Hi Taurus, if you want to come on in, see your ink blot made in your name and essence, feel free to take a screenshot so you can scry on your own time and terms for shapes or symbols that speak to and from your psyche and psychic senses. I'm going to dig in here and empathically explore your aura. Thank you very much for holding space for me to share my insights. Let's go. Taurus. Oh, I just wanted to relax. Taurians, I don't know if you're feeling that. I feel like there's a bulk and it's relaxing in. And I'm definitely getting that sense, look at all your white. Almost like there's the feet, the hands, or maybe the elbows and the hands. And this jaw. I don't know if the jaws of life have just been oh my goodness, forgive me. My brain doesn't always work linearly when I'm in such a liminal space. The jaws, there's perhaps even a clenching of the jaw, but this tight fix on something. I'm seeing a hand. Okay, interestingly enough, your ink blot in this one, in the crease of creation that I call it, it didn't fully, so I'm going to read that for a second. And I'm hearing a conversation between two different creatures because the ink didn't mirror. And it's one feels like a slap. So Taurians, I don't know if something has been had, maybe it's from a boss or a parent or a partner, somewhere along that lines. You choose the channel if you're resonating with this, and some sort of words spoken just felt like a slap. And this jaw, this bear trap tightening thing. It's but when I opened your ink blot, I was just relax. And I feel like that's kind of the brilliance and the wisdom. Maybe throughout the holidays, there's a lot of bracing, and maybe that's what just the conversation was a lot. You know what I mean? It just slap happy. Maybe there's jokes and, knee slap and good times, but I feel like there's this relaxation in the air. And Taurians, if you're not feeling that, perhaps that's the wisdom of it, to remind yourself that you can cultivate that time to relax, the space to relax, embody it. I want to feel space between my joints almost. You know what I mean? Well, that's how it's feeling anyway. I'm also seeing two elf-like creatures, and they're standing up and over, they do want to talk, and it's oh, it's been so long. And then you have this under conversation. It's there's an above and a below conversation happening. And sorry, I think my cat's trying to get in my room. Okay. So it's they're reaching for each other to be let's talk about this. Can we have a bigger conversation before we lock in on something, before we lock in on a final thought, a decision, a concept, regardless, it's a commitment, right? Even if it's a line of thought or a reaction or response to something, it's almost I can feel the Taurians, before I commit to a conclusion, this higher conversation is happening. And I feel then that space comes back in. The space to relax comes back in. I'm also seeing freckles. I just heard the phrase throw shade. I don't know, Taurians, if more recently or somewhere someone's thrown shade at you, or vice versa. But it's like it's causing you to feel foggy as I'm poking my head through. Like I'm in this area here, and it's like it actually kind of feels like a security system, if I may be very honest. The more I'm in here, feels like a security system from prying eyes. Are you working on something, Taurians, before this commitment? I'm also seeing, you know, those leaf things that I think it's like Roman times from like Caesar. It's in like the same shape, but I think it's the opposite way. Like the leaves go this way. Some sort of power, Taurians, is going on. Some sort of power. There is a brute force, if I may. That's what I'm going to call that. There's a brute force that's like, I'm seeing like a skyrocket. And I don't know what context this is in. And of course, being in the Taurian aura and energy, it could be in any channel. But there's, some form. It's like from this conversation or a conversation sparks this brute force, okay, to skyrocket into place. And this is like, okay, so I'm starting to feel the jaws of life, like this clenching, this bracing. But it's being held up by a good intention. Like there's on the Taurian half. And then it's like these higher self elves, like these other thinkers within your mind, these alternate thinkers. They're talking before they commit to some sort of conclusion or channel that they're going to pursue. So maybe you are looking for change, and this conversation just sparked it. And before you commit to that change, you're Taurus. You're going to do your legwork. You're going to do your groundwork before you commit to feeling like a butt clench of pressure. You're doing, or you've done legwork. I want to add on some tarot while we're talking here. But Taurians, there's this, it's interesting because there's this polarity about it. This blatant pressure. And yet, as soon as I stepped into your ink blot, observing, of course, it's like I wanted to relax. And I did relax. And I'm grateful for that. And it's almost making me feel like you are in this brute force as a compliment. You might even make space for others or have an aura about you that helps others relax. But I'm not sure if that means in turn you're not relaxing or something along that lines. The Caesar thing also brings about power, that brute force. Taurians. We're here for the Taurians, if I may. I'm seeing a bunny up there, and this bunny is... It's not a typical bunny. This bunny is considering its Two of Wands, opportunities of fertility, where I want to move my attention to, where I want to move that. It's also backed by spirit, by your intuition. I feel like this is very intellectual, but it's backed by intuitive intelligence. Intuitive intelligence. Seven of Swords. It makes me feel like that conversation, and whatever channel it may be in, right? To break free of. Maybe it's just somebody. There's a confidant or a friend or a boss. Like I said, somebody that conversation revealed something to you, and suddenly it's like the jaws of care because of that are being released. The Hangman and the Ten of Wands. Yeah, some sort of burden. Carrying burdens. But you know what? It's like this, and symbolically speaking, of course, of this conversation, because I feel like Taurians, you can place something. You're like, that told me something. And I'm just like, Two of Wands, right? You're like, how am I going to digest that before I commit to an outcome that I'm going to start to pursue? Not even necessarily an outcome, but how am I going to interact with this, if at all? If at all. So, but the Hangman's pretty cool, calm, and collective in this deck. It's like, you know what? If this person, place, or thing tried to put you in a particular position, like brute force to brute force or power to power, all it did was reveal. All it did was reveal something. And the Taurians caught on to that because they're backed by intelligence into two spaces, and that's the Roman thing, like the pillars that I'm seeing, and that flowery, it's not flowery, but that leafy thing, right? Those pillars are intellectual intelligence and intuitive intelligence. And whatever the burdens that the Taurians may have been carrying for one reason or another, pride, responsibilities, this or the other, but something happened and there was a breaking free of it because it revealed something, and you're like, oh, that's the box you were trying to put me in. Like somebody else was trying to contain your power. And instead of reacting and like bear trap annihilating it, you're like, thank you. I'm going to think about this for a second. I was just given information, which your pillars enjoy. And this information now I'm seeing as like all these little dark spots in your light that I wasn't sure what they were, like the freckles. This is different information because now I don't even know if they know they gave it up. Or they might have clued in because of your lack of response or your cool, calm, relaxed demeanor. And they're like, they shouldn't be acting that way. And now they're trying to like peek in to like find out more. And now it's become like your security system. They gave you information. Ooh, drama. Page of Wands. They tried to create something with a Taurus. Sorry, that's the Page of Wands. And they didn't realize like they were with a Picasso wizardry. I'm coming back to that rabbit. And I'm also seeing this rabbit talk to this thing, I'm going to say, and it has like two faces on either side. I think this is what's been revealed. And maybe you had an inkling. Like if your intuitive side had an inkling, but maybe your intellectual side was like, I don't know if I can trust that. A Taurian energy did. And they're like, all right. Look at this page trying to be all powerful. Respect, but you gave up your information. And Taurians need information to move forward, one way or the other. But right now, cool, calm, and collected. Cool, calm, and collected. Okay, the Knight of Wands, Page of Pentacles as well, 8 of Swords, and 7 of Pentacles. I feel like this might have something to do with money. If this is job oriented. Look at 7 of Pentacles. I'm sorry. Like, will the camera pick that up with the lighting? Look at all that brain, all that intellect, intuitive and intellectual intelligence. I feel like you can do something blindfolded, and maybe this is part of it. But this page, whoops, try to like get you wrapped up. Oops. It didn't work. Or they wanted to get you to respond in a particular way that would actually tie you. There's that bound feeling again, right? All bound. This page wanted you bound. Whatever that page represents for you, person, place, or thing, job, this, that, or the other. And it backfired. It backfired because you didn't react. Wisdom, you didn't react. You may have wanted to, brute force, like you might have been holding back. Bear, inner voice. You were listening to your intuition, intelligence. And by doing that, it broke you free of this box that they were trying to put you in with their word wizardry. And I'm going back to the Page of Wands with all the artistry. And it's like, you're dealing with Taurians. They're like word wizards, Picassos. So they picked up on it. Anyway, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to stay here too long. Because again, you can do this blindfolded. Might have been with a woman, or there's a woman around you as well that has trust for you, like is amongst what you're creating. Could be a partner, could be your female aspect as well. I got a note from this perspective as I'm like, look how calm, cool, and collective I am in your in your ink blot here, like just sitting back. But I went from like this, I want to relax, okay, but then when I was thinking about in the container, I felt all tight, and I'm like, oh, I get it. And now I feel very calculating before I commit and the bear trap goes off. And this isn't to capture anything. This is to release the pressure that the Taurian is tightening. So just when it goes off for oneself, like that commitment is made. Anyway, sorry, from this perspective, Taurians, there's an immense amount of spirit around you, that intuitive intelligence. And I can actually see from the shadowing, because I'm like legitimately here in nighttime, there are so I'm seeing Teletubbies, but I don't know what I know it's a kid's show, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's possibly like a background meaning of them, or maybe their colors, something about them, because I'm seeing them hold up, and it doesn't have to be a Teletubby, but some sort of character. Some sort of character that maybe you've created. Oh, sorry, 7 of Pentacles is what I wanted to hold up. And it's holding up this slap in the face conversation and the other higher self conversation. I also want to note that from this perspective, I'm seeing it as like duck hunting. I'm going to flip it to one of your Taurians. So hopefully this is resonating, because this feels, I'm not going to lie, it feels peculiar. But because there's this calm, cool, and collected feeling, I could definitely see how if there's a page around you, no matter what their position is, or contractual understanding you may have, like I said, if they're a boss or a coworker, it didn't work. But by your calm, cool, and collective response, or non-action reaction, I'm seeing a big old. Okay, I'm gonna say Egyptian energy. This is connecting. I'm like really digging this slide eye perspective, and because there's so much white, and I will get into it, but I actually can't see it as clearly. I actually get a better view. They are feeding the birds. When you care about something, Taurians, you feed it. And that's also a brilliant, like the bears coming through, like mama bear, papa bear. When you care, it's like a bear hug. Interesting. From the beginning, there was like the bear trap to now bear hug. You are both the polarity of the polar bear, if I may. I believe the polar bears are one of the more dangerous, if not the most dangerous bear, but forgive me if I'm wrong. And yet they're so white and like inapproachable by, well, at least to me, not knowing anything about bears. But when you care, you care. You nurture really, really well. You nurture really, really well. I'm seeing somebody at some point in time might have broken their leg, might have had a cast on. I feel like it's somewhere from like the knee, maybe like the knee down. Or maybe you still have a cast, or there's maybe a limp or just something in that area. There is, I almost want to say, like, if you could add on, if there is a healing in there, you know, if you're taking your, you know, Western, maybe consider a holistic modality as well, like a singing bowl or some sort of sound to help the frequencies, because it's drawing in more of what it knows. It's asking not to be ignored. Please don't ignore me. Somewhere in the knee area, knee and leg. Okay, so these Egyptian alien, again, I thought my cat made it in, alien things. And I say that because, okay, you know what I'm seeing is the Bride of Frankenstein. The Bride of Frankenstein. I don't know. When I think of the Bride of Frankenstein for myself, I think there's a loyalty there to some cause, something, some sort of lifestyle, or ins and out. When I wander to the Egyptian, there's a silver eye. And this eye, I don't know what it means, but it's a silver eye, almost like a coin. And Taurians, you wonderfully do have money here. So maybe this was about a job, or somebody's in a personal situation was just affecting your money because they were attacking your power. Careful not to waste your time. Your time is also money, currency. And you see, maybe you see things that way. But you're a giver. You're a giver. I just saw a really curious, and I'll just say it because it's the space, feels safe in this space to say such. I'm seeing like a pirate who has is it Robin Hood? Robin Hood energy. Does that make sense? So on one hand, you might have a lot of pirates around you, because I also do see a snake coming at the top, but you're aware of it. You're fully aware of it. And I do believe it's at this page. It's really quite ridiculous. But also you have the ability to see the slithering. So you might have had like a past. And this past, shady, non-shady, or maybe it's intellectual, and there's a lot of book reading or street smarts. It serves you in this space because you can see those signs and signals within people. Two-faced coin. Sometimes it takes you a little longer than others. Most of the time I feel like it's because you don't see them. When they want you to see them, they kind of come at you. You know, like, look at me. Anyway, okay. I'm seeing a blue jay. It's so funny with this one ink spot, and I'm really trying not to get attached to it, but it's hilarious because I'm seeing this blue jay and it's looking back, and it's like bird poop is being thrown out. I do feel like there's a lot of loud people around you. It comes back into the wizardry. But careful. Careful you don't eat where you poop type feel. There's something about that. Just being mindful. Taurians, I feel like there's feel like you want to walk away from something. Taurus, I'm not going to lie. I feel like you want to walk away from something. But before you commit to that, you want to have the next plan in place. I'm also seeing a young woman around you. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's yourself, or again, the aspect of you, the female aspect of you. Maybe add on to this. They're holding hands. They're holding hands. It's almost as if I can see, Taurians, that you may not have quote unquote stuff in common. It could also be your ancestors coming through. Again, it is all in white, so it could be like a soul ancestry. But they're holding hands as they're going in different directions. So there could be a split of someone, like I said, if you want to change something up, personal, professional. But I'm getting the sensation this is spirit, and this is somewhere because you're in one place and they're in the other. Even though where you connect is in the contraption of consciousness. So you still communicate and all that. But there's this blatant knowing you're working together, but in different landscapes, but for the same goal. You also have, it just fleeted my mind. Change. Remember how we were just talking about that? Like maybe change is in the air. Oh, for heavens and hot dogs. I was just looking at it. What was it? All right. Maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe it's not meant to be said or seen, and that's okay. Like when there's those little fish that swim around big sharks, and then there's also, I think there's birds that do it as well. I don't know what these are. But it's like the same kind of thing. I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm really not qualified to know. Look at the ancestor card came out again. Mummy, ancestor. You might also have a mother in spirit or a mother energy stepping forward to help you through this change. Apple and spider. The apple has a heart in it. And the spider. If you give me 2 shakes here and I'll take a boo. Community and web weaving. This is what makes me feel like in your wizardry. Maybe it's with words, maybe it's the way you interact with people, maybe it's the way you place things in your environment, this, that, or the other. You are the weaver, and some page tried to come in and I don't know. Risk and reward. So they took the risk. I don't know, maybe the way you're perceived, they took the risk to approach you. Maybe it's being misunderstood, Taurians, and you're seeing it in this weird way, or that's how I'm perceiving it. Actually, I should not project that to you. And really it's like, no, they just took the risk to introduce themselves to you, or to communicate with you, or to be noticed by you. Perhaps you are the boss, perhaps you are the person, right? Okay, so we can clear that up, and hopefully that's in, like at the beginning, before this commitment, there's this higher conversation going on, that you are really looking at the possibilities of the big scope, listening to your inner and outer voice, Taurians, because just in case, right? And whatever groundwork or investigation you need to do, cicada, the past, right? You don't want to repeat cycles willy-nilly. But if you do have a page around you and they kind of poked you the wrong way, maybe check into their past. But we were also talking about your past, were we not? So, again, throwing shade, careful. But it gives you information of how to proceed. Okay, so I'm going to leave that at that. Because Taurians, obviously there's change in the air. And you are supported by spirit, ancestors, this, that, or the other. And this woman, ancestor that we were talking about, you are the apple of their eye. You are the apple of their eye, and they have so much love for you. they're helping you through this change as though it's like a mummification. Remember that pressure I was talking about from the very beginning? I was like, oh, okay. It's almost like that. And then we even talked about a cast. Interesting. I say that because I don't think this card has ever come up for me in this deck. So, Taurians. There is just something, a beautiful partnership. Maybe you and your partner, or again, different aspects of yourself, you go about things differently. Like throughout your day, one's corporate, one's creative. You know, one works at Subway, one works at McDonald's, so one works at a health bar, one works at a bar. Like it seems opposite that you go your separate ways, but then you come together. But there is change in the air. This is the one aspect. If I remember from flipping it, yeah, if anyone's challenging your power, respect. Look at everything around before you make the changes, before you commit to that, just in case. But cahoots to you, because oh my goodness, I've taken up way too much of your time here rambling on about your power in this page. I apologize. Sorry, not sorry. You have been a very interesting muse this time around, Taurians, and hopefully you've made sense of this somewhere along the line, symbolically speaking, and it has offered you some ideas to more inspire your intellect and your intuition, because you are weaving up change. And I just heard, if anyone thinks they're going to weave me up to mummify me, I will be the one to do that, because then I will reemerge like a cocoon and come out like a butterfly. Go for it, Taurians. Spirit's backing you, and you are adored. And until next time, thank you for scrying with me. All the links are below to help a gal grow. If you want to request your own rorschach in a reading, if you want to donate, PayPal, buy me a coffee, and or binge your blots. Go for it. Binge out. All right.